He had a low batting average against with the slider, 190. And he's been working on it even more this spring. He's a pitcher with a slider, with the best changeup in the game. I think Luis Castillo is a dark horse candidate to win the National League Cy Young Award this year. And on an improving Reds team. Now again, my concern being, I'm not trying to repeat this every time. I think you're going to get about 75% usage out of any starting pitcher, which is why I think a Castillo around pick 45 to 50 is a good way to go. Now, I'm going to just name these pitchers. I'm going to highlight some, but I'm going to name some more. Patrick Corbin, Zach Greinke, Charlie Morton, in that same category. The next pitcher that I want to highlight is a pitcher that I really love, Mike Clevinger. And I know he was hurt some last year, won 13 games nonetheless, 169 strikeouts, a 271 ERA, a 106 whip. We know that before and during the early spring, he hurt his knee. He had just started to throw around the time spring training was shut down. I think the March 11 or 12, right around the shutdown day, he'd thrown 25 to 30 pitches in a bullpen. Didn't feel any pain, didn't feel any soreness. That was a month ago. Clevinger will be ready day one, just like any other pitcher. And with his ADP around 67 to 70, he's a clear 4th, 5th round pick, worthy of ace status. Wait on him, guys. Get your bats early. I'm going to repeat that over and over today. And get your Clevingers, get your Mortons, get your Greinke's, and the next pitcher, get your Lucas Giolito's, who won 14 games last year, struck out 228. And you'll notice the pitchers I'm telling you to get either had 1, a great second half, 2, strikeouts over 200, 3, a whip under 110, or 4, all of the above. Giolito won 14 games for a White Sox team that only won 71. He struck out 228. He had a 3.41 ERA. He had a 1.06 whip. Former first-round draft pick of the Washington Nationals. And last year, as we know, he had a breakout year. A top 25 pitcher for sure. Going around ADP of 70 to 75. Giolito, an ace. If I could get Clevinger and Giolito back-to-back in the 5th and 6th or 4th and 5th rounds and get batters 1, 2, and 3, I'm rocking. I mean, I am rocking in a draft. And you will be too. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, DeMazens. Good morning, DK Lush. Good morning, Doug Boyle. Good morning, George. Lenny, Zelmo. Where is Phil Chaplin this morning? Oh, he's parking it cool somewhere. He'll be out and about soon. Let's keep going. Another pitcher with a great second half. Yu Darvish. And he was a tale of two cities, right? It was a tale of two seasons, wrapped up in one in 2019. In the first half, Yu Darvish had a 5.01 ERA. Fantasy owners were cutting him. You could find him on waiver wires. He had an 11.7% walk rate in 18 starts. And then all of a sudden, somebody changed the light bulbs. And he went from walking a lot to having pinpoint control in the second half. In the second half, his ERA was almost half of what it was in the first. He went from a 5.01 ERA to a 2.76 ERA. 13 starts in the second half. He only walked 7 batters the entire 13 starts. He walked 7 batters on March 30th in one game alone. So, are we going to get the first half of 2019 or the second half of 2019 with Yu Darvish? I think that the most fantasy gurus believe we're going to get that second half. Now, do you believe that? He's 33 years old. Overall last year, a 3.98 ERA, a 1.10 whip, 229 strikeouts in 178 innings. Personally, at the draft position, I'm staying away from Yu Darvish. A lot of upside, but a lot of recency bias against him from my perspective because of the inconsistency. And in early rounds, I want consistency from my starting pitchers. I'm not saying you shouldn't draft him. I'm just saying I don't want him that early. But a pitcher I do want early, who's being drafted around 85 to 90, is Chris Paddack. Paddack came out last year. He had a 4.94 K to walk ratio, 9th best in the major leagues, 26.9% strikeout rate, 12th best. We know he has a great fastball. He has an elite changeup. And I think pitchers nowadays have to have that changeup. So many, almost every pitcher throws in the mid-90s. It wasn't that way in the 70s and 80s. Pitchers were more pitchers, not throwers. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Now, if you don't throw 95 to 98, there's something wrong. I don't want to draft him in my fantasy league. These power pitchers in today's game. If I'm a power pitcher and I don't have a changeup, I'm going to somewhere and I'm going to develop a changeup. Well, Paddack has one. He's going to be the ace of that staff. And we talked about Monday and Tuesday, particularly Monday, we talked about the new proposed Cactus League realignment and how I told you Monday that the Padres were in a catbird seat. I really think they are. And Paddack is the ace of that staff. I love me some Chris Paddack. And in the climate that is 2020 fantasy baseball, Paddack around pick 85 to 90 is truly a great value this year. There are other great values. Now I want to talk about a pitcher who at the start of last year was, just incredible. He started out 2019, his first 8 starts with a 1.86 ERA, a 0.91 whip, a 30% K rate, and then he had a forearm injury. And I'm talking about Tyler Glasnow. He was a top Pirate prospect. I have talked about that trade with the Pirates and Rays to death. I have just run that totally in the ground. I'm not going to do that again. But we know Glasnow was a top Pirate prospect who never could put it together in Pittsburgh. And now he is arguably the ace of a very good Tampa Bay staff. That includes 2018 Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell. Arguably the best pitcher in the American League over the first 6 weeks last year before he was injured. Now he's back. I just think healthy. Tyler Glasnow at around pick 90. I'd rather have Glasnow healthy at 90 than Cole at 8. I really had. If Glasnow is healthy, and it appears that he is, I think he can put up the same type numbers he put up last year, and those numbers are very Coleian, very DeGromian. of all the pitchers I've talked about, be it Clevenger, be it Giolito, who can also put up Colian and DeGrommian numbers, Glasnow probably more so than any of those, more upside than any of those. If you are a fantasy owner who loves upside, you've got to love Tyler Glasnow. Those are my pitchers I want to highlight in the top 100. I want to talk about now some pitchers you can get late if you use ADP as the guide. May I? And I want to start in no particular order. I'm going to jump around here. But the guy I really am intrigued with as much as any in this group is the pitcher ranked around 195 or so. It's Frankie Montas, who's moved up a great deal on some draft boards. He's been high on mine throughout the whole spring. Frankie Montas, remember, he was suspended 80 games for PEDs. But before that, he was 9-2 with 103 strikeouts, a 2.63 ERA, and a 1.11 WHIP. We know he pitches in the Oakland Alameda Coliseum, pitcher haven. We know he has a great splitter. We know he has a great fastball. We know last year his strikeout and ground ball rates both increased significantly. Now, the concern we have about Montas is the fact that we haven't seen it consistently. But what we did see last year, we really liked. And when I see him at an average draft position below 175, I really, really, really like him. Frankie Montas, Oakland Athletic. Some more. I hope this is helping you. Lenny's been talking about Zach Wheeler all spring. And if there's one word to describe Mr. Wheeler during his career with the Mets, it would be inconsistent. And now he's gone to Philadelphia. And where I'm going to differ from the legend is I want to take a look at the ballpark factor. Zach Wheeler pitching in New York, in Flushing, New York, had a very good situation pitcher park factor-wise. He really did. I mean, a great pitcher's park. And now we take him from a great pitcher's park to a great hitter's park in Philadelphia. Now, he got the big 5-year, $118 million deal in December. Last year, his ERA jumped from 3.31 to 3.96. His K rate, it slid just a little bit, from 24.1 to 23.6. He has a career best 96.7 mile per hour fastball. But now he's heading into his age 30 season. Into a tougher new park. In a year where he's not going to have the off-season preparation now. And if you're talking about pitching 3 innings to start the year, it could be a rough start for Zach Wheeler. Now, he's their second starter. He's behind Aaron Nola in the rotation. I don't give a lot of credence to spring numbers, but he did have a 5.40 ERA in the spring. We'll see. I'm just telling you, I am concerned. And with Zach Wheeler's got an average draft position of 135 versus Frankie Montas of around 195, give me Frankie Montas. I'll take Frankie Montas over Zach Wheeler, even though on some boards his ADP is 60 spots later. Now, I know I'm not necessarily the voice of reason. I think I am. but it's a different